I had long come to accept that my life was divided into two worlds, the everyday humdrum of work, obligations, and quiet routines, and a realm of secret desires that I scarcely allowed myself to acknowledge. But on one particularly ordinary Tuesday afternoon, as I sat at my cluttered desk in a cramped corner of my apartment, my phone vibrated with an alert that would shatter the boundaries I had built around myself. The screen displayed a notification from an unfamiliar app, exclusive booking confirmed, your escape awaits. I stared at it for several long moments, heart pounding, uncertain if I was dreaming or if my mind was playing tricks on me. The message was succinct but loaded with promise. It read, "Your reservation at the Lux Paradiso Resort has been confirmed. Private dinner scheduled. Details to follow. Enjoy your escape." I blinked, trying to reconcile the clinical tone of the alert with the surge of excitement and apprehension rising inside me. I had never booked a getaway like this, never allowed myself to indulge in an escape so bold and unrestrained. Yet, in that moment, something inside me stirred, as if all the long-suppressed whispers of my heart were urging me to accept this invitation. I hesitated only for a breath before tapping confirm. At first, I questioned whether it was some kind of marketing gimmick, a sophisticated advertisement targeting busy professionals like myself. But as the minutes ticked by, more alerts began to appear, each one confirming further details. A second message arrived, check-in at Lux Paradiso Resort, Terminal Suite 704. Arrival, 8 p.m. tonight. Then a third read, private dinner at La Belle Epoque arranged. Exclusive table reserved. Time, 9:30 p.m. My pulse quickened with each successive notification. My mind raced through questions. Who had arranged this? How had my details come into play? And why, after years of quiet resignation, did I suddenly feel so alive, as though fate had finally decided to intervene? I was a woman in her early 30s, accustomed to the predictable cadence of my life, a steady job in an uninspired office, evenings spent in solitude with a cup of lukewarm tea and a book that rarely stirred my soul. Yet, deep inside, I had always yearned for something more, an escape from the drudgery, a chance to taste the extraordinary. And now, in this instant, I was being offered that very chance. With trembling fingers, I read through the details again, each word a tantalizing promise of mystery and luxury. The decision to embark on this unknown journey was almost instinctual. I closed my laptop, grabbed a small bag, and began preparing for the night ahead. As I stood before my mirror, carefully choosing an outfit that balanced sophistication with an understated allure, I could feel my heart pounding in anticipation. I opted for a sleek, form-fitting black dress paired with a light, tailored jacket and a pair of elegant heels that lent me both poise and power. I applied a subtle layer of perfume, a blend of amber and musk, that I hadn't worn in years, as if this very act was a ritual of transformation. The hours before my departure were filled with a heady mixture of nerves and excitement. I kept glancing at my phone, reading and rereading the messages. I wondered if someone had mistakenly sent these alerts to me, or if this was the work of an elaborate secret service that catered to souls desperate for a taste of the extraordinary. I recalled fleeting moments from my past, nights when I had felt the spark of possibility, when I had allowed myself to dream of a life beyond the safe confines of routine. Perhaps, in some inexplicable way, this was a second chance, a moment to rewrite the narrative of my existence. As dusk turned to early evening, I locked my apartment door behind me and hailed a cab. The city that night was transformed. Neon lights and shimmering reflections in puddles on rain-soaked streets painted a picture of both urban grit and quiet beauty. I couldn't help but feel that I was leaving behind more than just my apartment. I was leaving behind an old version of myself that had been resigned to mediocrity for far too long. Every mile the cab covered deepened my sense of anticipation, and with each passing moment, my doubts were slowly replaced by a thrill of possibility. The cab pulled up in front of the Lux Paradiso Resort, a name that sounded like something out of a luxurious travel magazine. The resort was a modern architectural marvel with sweeping curves, glass facades, and a grandeur that defied the simplicity of its surroundings. Even from the street, I could sense the promise of indulgence. I paid the driver and stepped out into the cool night air. The building's entrance was guarded by sleek glass doors and a discreet attendant who greeted me with a knowing smile as I presented my confirmation on my phone. Inside, the lobby was a vision of opulence, marble floors polished to a mirror shine, elegant sculptures, and soft, ambient lighting that bathed everything in a warm, inviting glow. I was escorted to Terminal Suite 704, a spacious and tastefully decorated suite with panoramic views of the city. The suite exuded a quiet luxury, a perfect blend of modern design and timeless elegance. I took a moment to absorb the surroundings, plush seating, artful arrangements of fresh flowers, and a large window through which I could see the twinkling lights of the metropolis stretching out into the night. It was as though the suite itself was a sanctuary, a haven from the mundane world I had left behind. I set my bag down and began to explore. Every corner of the suite seemed to whisper promises of indulgence, a state-of-the-art sound system, a minibar stocked with fine wines and artisanal snacks, and a soft, inviting bed that beckoned me to let go of every worry. Yet, what intrigued me most was the subtle detail of a handwritten note resting on the elegant writing desk. Its delicate script read, "Your escape is just beginning. Enjoy the moment, and let every sense be awakened. S." I paused, wondering if S might be the person orchestrating this entire affair. The mystery deepened, and I felt a mixture of curiosity and determination welling up inside me. I spent the next hour in quiet reflection, letting the luxury of the suite seep into my very being. I took a long, indulgent shower in the spacious marble bathroom, letting the warm water wash away the residues of everyday life, as if preparing me for an encounter that would redefine everything I thought I knew about passion and possibility. When I finally dressed and looked out at the city from my suite's expansive balcony, I felt as though I was standing on the threshold of a new existence, a place where every moment was imbued with the promise of transformation. Just as the clock neared 9 p.m., a final alert appeared on my phone. Private dinner confirmed at La Belle Soirée. Table for one awaits. The text was accompanied by an elegant digital invitation that detailed the location, a secluded, high-end dining venue known only to a select few. I could feel my pulse quicken. It was time. I gathered my things and, with one last lingering look at the suite, stepped out into the cool embrace of the night. I hailed another cab, my mind a whirlwind of anticipation and uncertainty. As the cab navigated the labyrinthine city streets, I found myself replaying every detail of the journey so far. The unexpected alerts, the chic resort that now housed me, the mysterious note signed S, and the promise of an exclusive dinner that seemed poised to unveil yet another layer of this unfolding mystery. I was no longer the woman who had resigned herself to the monotony of everyday life. Tonight, I was transformed, ready to embrace the unknown with a courageous heart and a mind open to every possibility. The cab finally arrived at La Belle Soirée, a name that conjured images of elegance and exclusivity. The venue was tucked away behind an unassuming facade on a quiet side street, a secret gem that only those in the know could find. I stepped out of the cab and approached the entrance, my heels clicking softly against the pavement. The door was guarded by a discreet attendant who checked my invitation with a polite nod before ushering me inside. The interior of La Belle Soirée was a feast for the senses. The dining room was adorned with sumptuous fabrics, delicate crystal chandeliers, and artful floral arrangements that lent an air of romance and mystery to the space. Soft instrumental music filled the room, creating a backdrop of serenity and refined luxury. I was led to a secluded table near a large window that offered a panoramic view of the city's twinkling skyline. The table was set with immaculate precision, a pristine white tablecloth, glistening silverware, and a single, perfectly arranged bouquet of roses. I took my seat, feeling simultaneously exposed and exalted, as if every detail of this meticulously arranged dinner was a deliberate invitation to let go of my inhibitions. Almost immediately, a waiter appeared, presenting me with a menu that read like a love letter to fine dining. Each dish was described in poetic detail, a symphony of flavors and textures that promised to elevate the evening to something transcendent. I scanned the options and, with a sense of daring that I rarely allowed myself, ordered a multi-course meal that was renowned for its artistry and innovation. As I waited, I sipped on a glass of champagne, its effervescence mirroring the excitement that bubbled within me. Throughout the dinner, my eyes kept drifting to the entrance, half expecting to see someone who might explain the carefully woven tapestry of my evening. I wondered if S would appear again, or if the elusive orchestrator of my secret escape would reveal another clue. Yet, no one approached my table. The waitstaff moved with discreet efficiency, and the other diners, absorbed in their own conversations, seemed to inhabit a world separate from the mystery that now defined my night. Between courses, my thoughts drifted back to the suite and the note that had signed off with S. Who was this person, and what was their role in all of this? I recalled the thrill of the alert and the unexpected invitation, a moment that had shattered the mundane and injected a vibrant burst of possibility into my life. Every detail of the evening, from the luxurious resort to the private dinner, felt like a carefully orchestrated symphony designed to awaken a part of me that had long lain dormant. I couldn't help but wonder if this was an experiment, a deliberate act of rebellion against a life that had grown too predictable. As the meal reached its crescendo, the waiter presented the final course, a delicate dessert that combined the bitterness of dark chocolate with the subtle sweetness of raspberry coulis. Each bite was a revelation, a moment of exquisite tension that encapsulated the complex emotions surging within me. The flavors mingled and contrasted, much like the experience of that night, a blend of unexpected twists and quiet, profound beauty. In that moment, as I savored the last taste of the dessert, my phone vibrated once more with a new alert. The screen illuminated with a message that simply read, "Tonight, your journey of escape is complete. Return to your suite for the final revelation." The words were both an ending and a promise, a signal that the carefully orchestrated evening was not over, but was about to evolve into its ultimate phase. I left La Belle Soirée with a light, almost euphoric step, feeling as though I were carrying a secret that could transform every ordinary moment into something extraordinary. As I hailed a cab back to the Lux Paradiso resort, my mind raced with anticipation for what the final revelation might hold. Was it another clandestine encounter, a secret meeting, or perhaps a hidden message waiting to unlock even deeper layers of my identity? The journey back was a blur of shimmering city lights and a quiet, persistent beat of hope in my chest. I arrived at the resort once more and stepped into the familiar opulence of my suite. The soft hum of the air conditioning and the gentle glow of the night lamp greeted me as I entered. I felt a profound stillness settle over me, a pause in the whirlwind of events that had so completely transformed my perspective. I placed my bag by the door and sank into the plush sofa near the window, where I could gaze out at the sprawling city below. In that quiet moment of reflection, I began to piece together the night's extraordinary sequence of events. Every alert, every exclusive booking, every carefully orchestrated detail seemed to converge on one simple truth. I had been given the opportunity to escape the confines of an existence that had grown too safe, too predictable, and to embrace a life filled with passion, mystery, and the unyielding promise of transformation. The final alert still burned on my phone's screen, a message that was as enigmatic as it was definitive. I stared at the words, feeling a surge of determination mingled with the lingering tremors of anticipation. Tonight, I would learn the final secret, the ultimate revelation that would complete the journey this extraordinary evening had set in motion. And in that moment, as I sat alone in the soft, welcoming glow of my suite, I knew that my life was about to be irrevocably changed. I spent the next few hours writing in my journal, my thoughts flowing onto the pages with a raw, unfiltered honesty. I recorded every detail, the taste of champagne, the texture of the dessert, the intricate patterns of light and shadow that danced across the walls. I wrote about the stirring emotions, the mix of hope and uncertainty that now defined me. It was as if I were documenting the birth of a new self, a self that was no longer content with the ordinary, but hungry for the extraordinary. As midnight approached, I felt an almost magnetic pull toward the final destination indicated by the alert. I gathered my things and stepped out of my suite, the cool night air wrapping around me like a promise. With my heart pounding and my mind alive with possibility, I ascended into the night, ready to complete the journey that had begun with a single, cryptic alert. I stepped out into the night, the cool air a welcome contrast to the warmth of the suite I had just left. Every detail of the evening, the sleek confirmation alerts, the sumptuous interiors of the Lux Paradiso resort, the private dinner at La Belle Soirée, and the enigmatic handwritten note signed S, had stirred something deep within me. Now, with my bag slung over my shoulder and my heart pounding in anticipation, I knew the final revelation awaited. The last alert had guided me to the final destination, a promise of an experience that would complete this clandestine escape and, perhaps, redefine my very essence. The cab ride back through the city felt both surreal and charged with purpose. The neon lights blurred past the window, each fleeting image a reminder of the countless stories woven into the tapestry of urban nights. My mind replayed every moment, the soft clink of fine china at dinner, the gentle murmur of Vincent's words, and that persistent message urging me onward. I had no idea what to expect, yet a strange certainty propelled me forward. Somewhere beyond the familiar corridors of the resort lay the next piece of this intricate puzzle. The cab stopped in front of an imposing, yet discreet building that I had never noticed before. Its facade was a study in understated elegance, dark, reflective glass set against polished stone, its architecture hinting at both modern sophistication and timeless charm. A final alert vibrated on my phone, final revelation, enter through the grand atrium. Let your true self be revealed. I hesitated only a moment before stepping out onto the rain-washed pavement. With each step toward the building's entrance, my pulse quickened and my mind swelled with questions. Who was orchestrating this grand escape? What hidden truths lay waiting behind those unassuming doors? And most of all, what part of myself would be awakened tonight? Inside, The lobby was bathed in a gentle, ambient glow. A mix of modern minimalism and classic artistry greeted me: marble floors, soaring ceilings, and carefully curated art pieces that seemed to capture both the fragility and resilience of human emotion. I passed a discreet attendant who offered a polite nod without a word, and made my way to a grand, sweeping staircase that led upward to the building's atrium. As I ascended, I noticed the sound of soft, instrumental music, like the distant notes of a piano accompanied by the murmur of a gentle string ensemble, filling the air with a sense of longing and mystery. Reaching the top of the staircase, I entered the grand atrium, a cavernous, airy space that felt simultaneously sacred and alive. Natural light poured in from a large skylight overhead, mingling with the soft glow of carefully placed fixtures. In the center of the atrium stood a circular platform, upon which an elegant glass sculpture refracted the light into a dazzling array of colors. The atmosphere was charged with expectation. It was as if the very space were a stage prepared for a performance that transcended time. At the edge of the platform, a figure awaited me. Draped in a flowing, silver-gray cloak, the person's face was partially obscured by shadows. In that moment, I sensed that this was the final guardian of the secrets I had been chasing all evening. The figure's voice, soft yet resolute, broke the silence. "Welcome. You have come far on your journey of self-discovery. Tonight, you shall learn what it means to truly live beyond the boundaries of the ordinary." The words, spoken with a gentle authority, sent shivers down my spine. I could not see the speaker's eyes, but I felt them piercing through the layers of my soul. With a graceful motion, the cloaked figure beckoned me forward. "I am Celine," she introduced, her voice carrying both wisdom and warmth. "I have been entrusted with the final revelation of your escape. In these moments, you will confront the truths you have hidden from yourself, and in doing so, you shall reclaim the parts of your spirit that have long been dormant." I felt a mix of trepidation and hope, wondering what hidden truths awaited me. Celine led me through a series of softly lit corridors that radiated an almost ethereal glow. The walls were adorned with abstract murals, vivid images of transformation, rebirth, and liberation, that seemed to pulse in time with my own heartbeat. As we walked, she spoke in a calm, measured tone. "There comes a time in every life when the soul must break free from the confines of routine and complacency. You have been offered an escape, a chance to live a night of luxury, mystery, and introspection. But the true magic lies not in the opulence or the experience, but in the awakening of your inner self." Her words resonated, echoing the secret desires I had long suppressed. We arrived at a small, secluded chamber at the end of the corridor. Inside, the space was arranged as an intimate sanctuary, a circular room with a single, large mirror framed by soft, flickering candlelight. The mirror, set against a backdrop of deep blue fabric, seemed almost otherworldly. Celine gestured for me to approach it. "Look into the mirror," she instructed gently. "See not just your reflection, but the layers of your true self, unburdened by the expectations and limitations you have imposed upon yourself." With a hesitant step, I stood before the mirror. At first, I saw only the familiar features of a woman who had once been cautious and reserved. But as I gazed deeper, the reflection began to change. The lines on my face softened, and images of a younger, more vibrant self flickered behind my eyes. I saw fragments of a life that I had nearly forgotten, a time when I dared to dream, to embrace passion without fear, and to live each moment as if it were a gift. Tears welled up in my eyes as the weight of years spent in quiet resignation lifted, replaced by a profound awareness of the limitless possibilities that lay ahead. Celine's voice broke the silence. "You have been given these experiences not as a means to escape, but as a catalyst to awaken what has always been inside you. Every exclusive booking, every alert, every carefully orchestrated detail was designed to remind you of the beauty and power of living authentically. It is time for you to choose. Will you continue to be bound by the past, or will you embrace the promise of a future filled with passion and possibility?" Her words, laden with both challenge and compassion, reverberated within me. I recalled every moment of the evening, the thrill of the alert, the opulent suite that had felt like a sanctuary, the private dinner where I had listened to Vincent's stirring declaration of life's hidden dimensions, and the exquisite details that had made my heart race. I realized that I had been given a rare gift, the chance to reclaim a life that I had unwittingly set aside in pursuit of stability and comfort. In that quiet chamber, illuminated only by the soft glow of candlelight and the refracted colors of the mirror, I made a decision. I would no longer hide behind the safety of routine. I would not let the fear of the unknown keep me from exploring the depths of my own desires. With trembling conviction, I stepped closer to the mirror and whispered, "I choose to live, truly live." In that moment, a subtle shift seemed to ripple through the air. The mirror's surface shimmered as if acknowledging my vow, and I felt a warmth spread through my chest, a warmth that spoke of renewal and the promise of endless possibility. Celine smiled softly, as if the transformation she had longed to witness was now manifesting before her eyes. "Your journey does not end here," she said. "It has only just begun. The escape you experienced tonight was but a single chapter in the epic of your life. Embrace this new beginning, and know that every moment is an opportunity to redefine who you are." With those parting words, she stepped back into the shadows, leaving me alone with my newfound resolve. I lingered in the chamber for what felt like an eternity, letting the magnitude of the experience sink in. The echoes of every whispered promise and every carefully orchestrated alert converged in my heart, filling me with a quiet determination to never again allow the mundane to dim the light of my spirit. I retrieved my journal from the small table near the mirror and began to write feverishly, capturing every detail of my emotions, every revelation that had unfolded in the silent intimacy of that room. As the hours slipped away and the first hints of dawn began to creep through the high windows of the atrium, I left the chamber with a renewed sense of purpose. The journey from that cryptic alert to this final revelation had been as much about rediscovering the passion within me as it was about experiencing the luxury of escape. I returned to my suite, no longer as the hesitant woman I had been earlier that night, but as someone transformed, someone who had embraced the possibility of living a life unbound by fear and routine. Back in the comfort of the Lux Paradiso resort, I sat by the window of Terminal Suite 704 and watched as the city awoke to a new day. The streets, once shrouded in the mystery of midnight, now glistened with the promise of morning. Every light and shadow that danced across the skyline reminded me that life was a tapestry of endless moments, each one waiting to be embraced, each one a chance to redefine who I was. I spent the rest of the day in a reflective haze, replaying the events of the night in my mind like a cherished dream. The series of exclusive bookings, the private dinner at La Belle Soirée, the intimate conversation with Vincent, and ultimately, the profound encounter with Celine, each moment was a stepping stone on the path to self-discovery. I realized that this escape, so carefully orchestrated by unknown hands and mysterious texts, was not merely an opportunity for indulgence. It was an invitation to reclaim a part of myself that had long been dormant, a call to awaken the passions, the hopes, and the fierce determination that lay buried beneath layers of caution and conformity. Later that afternoon, I found a quiet corner in the resort's lavish library and began to write in my journal once more. I wrote of the bittersweet beauty of the experience, of the vulnerability that came with opening one's heart to the unknown. I chronicled the transformation that had taken place within me, the way the fear of stepping into a new life had gradually given way to an exhilarating sense of possibility. With each word I wrote, I felt as though I were etching a new narrative for myself, a narrative in which I was the heroine of my own story, unafraid to embrace the extraordinary. In the weeks that followed, the memory of that night became a turning point in my life. I began to seek out opportunities to break free from the constraints of routine, to explore the hidden layers of my own identity. I returned to the city with fresh eyes, noticing the subtle interplay of light and shadow in familiar places, the hidden art in alleyways, and the quiet grace of everyday moments. I even found myself smiling at the thought of those unexpected alerts, a reminder that sometimes, the universe sends us messages when we least expect them. As I continued on my journey, I discovered that the transformation was not confined to that single night. It had seeped into every aspect of my existence, the way I approached my work with renewed creativity, the way I connected with others on a deeper, more authentic level, and the way I allowed myself to dream without restraint. I learned to listen to the quiet stirrings of my heart, to embrace the possibilities that lay beyond the mundane, and to trust that every secret, every whispered invitation, was a key to unlocking the vast potential within me. Now, as I reflect on that transformative night and the journey that it set in motion, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude. I understand that true liberation comes not from escaping reality, but from embracing it fully, with all its imperfections, its mysteries, and its infinite capacity for renewal. The exclusive bookings, the chic resort, the private dinner, and the final revelation in the grand atrium were not merely fleeting moments of luxury. They were the catalysts that awakened me to the truth that life is meant to be lived passionately, with an open heart and an unyielding belief in the beauty of every moment. Tonight, as I prepare to step out into the world once again, I carry with me the memory of Celine's words, Vincent's heartfelt message, and the silent promise of the mirror that reflected my truest self. I know that the journey of self-discovery is ongoing, that each day offers new chances to rewrite our stories and to embrace the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And as I look forward to the future, I am determined to live with the courage of someone who has seen the light beyond the darkness, a person who knows that every alert, every invitation, and every secret rendezvous is a reminder that we are all capable of transforming our lives if we only dare to take the first step. The night has ended, and a new dawn beckons. With my journal in hand and a heart brimming with hope, I step forward into the unfolding day, ready to face whatever adventures lie ahead. My secret escape was not an end, but a beginning, a beautiful, unpredictable journey toward a life filled with passion, mystery, and the unquenchable desire to truly live. And so, with the final revelations echoing in my mind, I close this chapter of my journey. I remain ever vigilant for the subtle signs and whispered invitations that remind me of the limitless potential hidden within every moment. I am no longer content to be a passive observer of life. I have embraced the call to adventure and, in doing so, have discovered that the greatest luxury of all is the freedom to be unapologetically, beautifully, and fiercely alive. This, then, is my truth, a truth uncovered in the quiet magic of a night that transformed me, in the soft glow of a secret rendezvous that reawakened my spirit, and in the gentle wisdom of those who reminded me that every moment is an opportunity to step into the extraordinary.